Hi everyone, I am Maggie and I've been a pediatric speech language pathologist for the past 15 years. And today, if you are feeling lost and not sure what to use or what toys are the best to communicate and connect with your child, you are in the right place because we're going to talk about 3 things that you probably have in your home right now that you can use to connect with your child. So let's dig in. Why are these 3 things so important? Because we are going to take all the words out of communication right now and focus on joint attention. Joint attention is when 2 people share an interest in the same object. This is not requesting. If a child points up at the cookies and is telling you it wants a cookie, that's not joint attention because the child is making a request. Joint attention is really for shared enjoyment. So the child might look to the object and then look back at you, and you do the same. It's really all about interaction and connection and engagement. Joint attention is a really important step that we need to help children develop before communication comes, because it really is the connection. The connection is more important than the words, it's more important than the devices, than the pictures, whatever it might be. If you have the connection, we can build on from that. So let's talk about how do we get that and what 3 things are we going to talk about. First up today, we are going to talk about a flashlight. Simple thing, you might have a big one, you might have a small one. This one I actually think is from the dollar store, but why it's so great is because when you turn it on, you can also model language with on, off. So that's language built in there. But the joint attention is it will take your vision and hopefully your child's and point it to the same object. So if you are pointing it, or just let your child move it around, they're going to look at things. You can label them. If they put their hand in front of it and they see their hand is lit up and then they look back at you while you're looking at their hand too, and then we can turn it off and do some gentle sabotage that I talked about in the last video, then that's a great way to start getting joint attention. You both looked at the light, looked at their hand, looked at each other. Some other programs out there will call these circles of engagement. And so really what it is you just want to be engaged with your child. You want your child to know that you're there and to be excited, and we can bring the fun. So another great thing to do with the flashlight is if you accidentally shine it in your eyes and you have a really big reaction, that's going to draw your child's attention to you. And then they're going to shine it away. And then you're like, oh, that's fine, great. And then when they point it back, you say, ah. This is a great way to get these circles, to get this interaction, this back and forth really moving. Then you can take the flashlight. You can shine it on things. You can label things. You can go on a hunt to try to find things that are green. If your child is a little more advanced with their language skills, or find all the fruits in the house or something that it might be. But this is a great way, a flashlight, it just draws everybody's attention to the same thing. Whatever the light is shining on, you and your child will more likely be engaged in the same item versus, sorry, my cat's there, versus if there is no flashlight and I'm trying to find green things, my child might just be noticing the windows open outside. So really the flashlight is great to bring attention to the same thing. The second item that I have that has been a big hit in my therapy sessions, and I'm not exactly sure why. I've been doing this for a long time, and this is like the most kids have ever loved this, but is a little fan. So mine is a little desk fan. I have a bigger fan in my house that if you have like a room fan you could use. While these are great, it's because once again, we are trying to get that attention to the same thing. So if you have a fan and you turn it on, your child might not be super interested. Disclaimer, always use this one with parental supervision. I don't want anybody sticking their fingers in there. So definitely make sure you're involved. A flashlight, you could probably leave your child alone with it as long as it's tight, and then they'll be okay. But a fan, definitely want a parent there. So the fan is great because if a child doesn't seem interested in just the air blowing, that's fine. But you can find things around your house. I found these stickers. I found some old grass. Probably bubbles, and if you don't have bubbles, you can just do soap and water and a bubble wand and put it in front of it, and now the bubbles go everywhere, the stickers fly, the paper goes up and down. Once again, great way to incorporate language. You can use on, off, you can do up, down. If you have a balloon in the house, which I did blow one up for this. If you have a balloon in the house, the balloon will fly across the room. Or if you have a fan like this and you can put it like this, the balloon will just float up here, and then your child might need to ask you for help to get it down if you put it on the table or somewhere slightly out of reach. So now they're not only having the joint attention with you because you're both obviously looking at the things flying, and you can have a big reaction. When the paper flies up and comes down, you can say, oh my gosh. And the bigger your reaction, the more likely your child is going to be like, oh, when I do this, mom or dad does something funny. This is great. The balloon, you can use all different colors to make them fly. You can ask for help to get it out. Down if you're having it suspended in air. If it flies across the room with the fan, the child can go and stop to go get it. These are all things that you probably have in your house. I don't know if you necessarily have balloons, or hopefully you're not like me and have leftover Easter scraps still hanging around. But look around your house. What can you use? At school, I use feathers because we have feathers because we do crafts and stuff. But I don't have those in my house. So I can even take, slightly out of my reach, take a piece of paper and ball this up and see if this flies. You can try stuff. Even if it doesn't fly, I've had kids take whole games and try to put it on my fan. And then we say, uh-oh. Doesn't work. Doesn't have to be necessarily that everything is productive and flying up over your head or across the room. The point is we want that engagement. We want that joint attention to, Mom, look what happened with all the bubbles. They went over there. And you get that back and forth. It's really hard to do without a child here, so I apologize. And the other last one that we have is a sheet. I have it in the other room because I set up a little fort. If you're anything like me, I loved playing with forts as a kid. There's just something magical about being in your own little house. And for kids, forts are great because they take away the distractions. I can look and name like 100 things in the room that I'm in right now. Plus the window's open so I can see cars driving by. All those things take away a child's attention from us or from you as their parent, from their playmates. So by building a fort, we build in an automatic distraction reduction machine, basically. And what that's going to do is whatever you then bring into the fort, whether it's a book or some Play-Doh or whatever you're doing, you're more likely to get that back and forth interaction because there's less distractions. And you could also use the flashlight as well. So let's take a little field trip, shall we? How fun is this? Okay, maybe not for you, but I am a total child at heart, and this takes me right back to my childhood, and it is a great way that you can use to reduce distractions and increase joint attention with your child. On a side note, I did use 3 blankets, but one's a fitted sheet, so that shouldn't even count. But yeah, so I have 3 blankets here just draped over chairs, pretty simple to put together. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna bring you and your child in the same place with less distractions to hopefully increase that joint attention. If you want, I think I brought in a ball. If your child isn't interested in balls, and so throwing it or rolling it, you can say go, you can say stop. If it rolls out of the fort, you can say, uh-oh, let's go out and get it. All those things. But if your child doesn't care about balls, don't bring a ball in. Bring in the flashlight, or bring in, if they love cars, bring in some cars. Even if your child likes to spin the wheels and watch it, this is a great time for you to take the car and for you to spin the wheels. Your child will notice that you're trying to engage in something that they find meaningful. They might not show it at first, but I have been told by a lot of autistic adults that they are aware of what's going on when they were younger. They just didn't have a way of communicating it yet. So what you want is you want to try and give them ways to connect. So whether it's joining and spinning the cars, lining up the cars, when you're in the fort, they can't see all the other cars that are in the room that they need to run and go get. They're going to focus on the cars in there. You can label them. You can line them up with them. And if you put one the wrong way and say, uh-oh, and then fix it, they might look at you and think that was funny. And then there's your joint attention right there. You have to be creative. You have to be silly. It's easy for me because I'm kind of a crazy, silly, whatever word you want to use. person in my personality. So if you're not like that and being silly feels stupid or uncomfortable, knock yourself out of your comfort zone and get in there and be silly. It's okay. No one's watching unless you're putting this on YouTube, and then hopefully 5 people are, but that's neither here nor there. So all these ways, the fan, the flashlight, and the sheets, 3 sheets to be exact, are all great ways to get more joint attention so you can get more connection, which then leads to communication and is what we all want to have with our children. So I hope these ideas spark some interest in your brain and you're going to try one. Let me know in the comments below if any of them worked, or if there's any other ideas. Parents have bazillions of ideas out there, so share them below and hopefully everybody can help each other. But for now, just remember, you want to get that engagement, that joint attention, and that is what you're going to need first before you focus on the words and all that stuff. That will come later. So you got this.